thought I could fit my face in here somewhere. Oh gosh. Hi. I just didn't want to move the camera because it's sometimes irritating. So my name is Anya Devine. Have a look at the links below if you want to know more about me. If this is your first time here, you're very welcome. I've had a bit of a slump the last couple of weeks, not done very much. And today I read something in a book about creativity happening every day being something that really buoys up. The lady wrote right in the book. And I thought that's my mantra too. Creativity on a daily basis is something that's really good for me, I know. And so I thought, Anya, come on, get out the paints and everything. So I'm going to replace this jug. Thanks, Juana, for giving it to me. I love it. And I'm going to do some sort of collage thing. And the main purpose here, what's the main purpose? There probably is none. I think the main purpose is that there is no pressure. How about that? No pressure whatsoever. And as I put the paper on the table here, I picked up this from a bag beside me, and actually I thought, oh, that would work, wouldn't it, for the teapot? So I'll just move this out of the way. This is a bit of a balancing act with all the bits and pieces around me here, but I think I'll get there. I know I'll get there. Okay. Yeah, so I'll start by sticking that down. And today I don't want to get glue all over my fingers, so I'm going to use a brush today. Now I'm at home, and you'll probably hear my children getting up and going places in the next wee while. But my dog Maisie, is out with the dog walker, so things are a little bit more peaceful on that front. I guess I should put that in there so it doesn't get hard now, that brush. So there we have it for the teapot. I should have showed you the teapot. See, I know it's not a wonderful thing, the camera angle, but at least the picture is seen. Okay, so there we've got the bulk of the teapot. Let's stick something on for the spout as well. I've got a sheet on my knee here, an old sheet, so I'm just touching the paintbrush onto that whenever I feel like, when I want to clean it up, dry it a bit. Okay, so that's that. And there's actually that nice kind of felted thing underneath the teapot. That reminds me a little bit of this. So I'm going to paste that on there. There we go. I think that was wrapping for some flowers that we got. Nice, isn't it? And actually I think so was the red paper. That was wrapping for Erin's roses from her boyfriend Callum for Valentine's Day. Now the next thing I could maybe do is the gerbera over there. I have this judgment on myself that it needs to be dynamic and exciting for you watching, and then I start to get all over lively, do you know? So I'm choosing not to do that today. I'm just let it unfold as it will. Okay, the paper that I'm using here is it's just some card with gesso painted on it. It's white card. It's not very thick even, but I've painted a couple of coats of gesso on it, so it's that prepares it for paint and for pushing things around a bit more. I'm reaching down every so often to find things in my bag. I'd say that that colour might be quite good for the roses. This what is it? Crimson. This is acrylic now. I'll just try that out for those roses there. Maybe not. It's maybe more that colour I've just put out, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's what it is. So I'm just going to put it on there instead. And there was I thinking I wasn't going to get dirty today. So that's not really what I want for the roses, although some of them could be explained a little bit. I could just find the position of them by using the red. And when it's watered down, it does get a bit more crimsony, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. And I might wipe some away with the clean paper towel here. I'm kind of not going to hold myself to doing anything too particularly realistic. I like to have something to draw on sometimes like this now, and then just give myself a bit of free rein and see what shows up. I love the pattern on both the jug and the teacup and saucer. So I'm kind of looking in my bag to see if I can find anything that might represent those. I mean, it's not really blue, but I think the teacup could be explained by that somehow. I could put some more pink on it if I wanted to. Sometimes it's just quite a nice thing to start off with bits of collage that are nonsensical and kind of almost don't, they only barely get something of what it is. And then I can make a little bit more sense of it. I have something to react against. Or to respond to, I suppose is a better turn of phrase there, isn't it? Okay. I feel like putting something, maybe I'll use this blue. I was going to say I felt like putting on some paint, but maybe I'll carry on. There's quite a lot of blue went on there. See what that does on its own. I might just let it alone there and bring some of it down for where the saucer meets the table there. There's a kind of a slight shadow under the saucer, you see, that I wanted to establish with that blue. And then it took its own little route up there, which might be okay too. I'm going to say that it is okay. And the next thing then would be I'd like to put some turquoisey ink on for that tabletop too. This tablecloth is actually a scarf that my Aunt Margaret sent me over from Ireland, which I love because it's got so many colours in it, and it's got a tiny bit of the turquoise ink. I think maybe there's not going to be any. It's got so many colours that it's always inspiring, there's always something to draw from. So there's just a little bit of more, I think, a lighter blue coming in. That looks really similar to the ultramarine from Lidl, doesn't it? So I can change it with the oil pastels more later, and just maybe make some sort of pattern with this. Yeah, and if I stick the paintbrush in, I might get enough to paint that little jug. Oh yeah. See, can you see that jug over at the top there? You can. Just painting that with the blue turquoise. It's actually, that maybe could do with being darker. And this turquoise might be employed over here. Can't really see, can you? Sorry. I'm creating the shape of this saucer there a little bit. And just really, to be honest, I'm enjoying having no plan. Really enjoying this soothing, letting go of any desired outcome here. There we are. Cover that. I've got a bit more of this too, but I don't know if I want to use that for, well, I guess I could use it for the other part, the other side of that See what I'm doing there? The other side of the teapot, just to help outline the shape of the teapot, where it sits on the felty thing. I made that felted pot stand, I suppose you could call it, a few years ago, maybe about 15 or 20 years ago actually. And I really love it. At the time I didn't think much of it. But now it really brings me joy. I'll show you. I think there's something about the dancing colours that appeals to me now. So that's it there. And I always need to turn it that way. I feel like that pink one needs to be at the bottom. Okay. Gosh, that blue is a bit wild. But it's kind of good having something, I think, that's wild and not really fully decided upon in lots of places, really, to be honest. I think that's a good thing, to leave space. I was considering that being my word for the year, a word it's called Taiscán. I discovered it in reading a book that my sister gave me on Irish, the Irish language. Taiscán means plentiful. It's kind of plentiful and like to feel like you have plenty, and at the same time there being space for something accidental, maybe, I don't know, just as well as feeling that fullness, there being space for something new as well. You'll notice that I bought the gerbera a lot closer to the teapot. I'm not sure why I did that, but I'm happy enough that it's there because it makes the composition a little bit freer, run a bit more freely. This is ultramarine blue ink that I'm using here because I wanted to make something a bit darker for that jug. Though it's not darker, is it, that blue? It's more the blue ink, this one that I got from Lidl, that's more the dark blue. Anyway, this will be good too. I'm thinking as I'm painting this down that I'd like to be able to see you as I'm working. You know, to be visible, like as I'm talking to you, but just know I'm here and I'm considering you as though I am looking at you. I do want you to be able to see what's happening on here, because I imagine that's maybe irritating if you can't, and helpful if you can, I suppose. I'll take some of that blue from there now, and I'm going to put it over here to create a shadow, because the blue actually has some red in it, so it's going to be a bit darker in places there to explain the shadow. I'd love to have something flowery that would do justice to that lovely flowery jug that my friend Juana gave to me. I want to find something that's going to work on there. So if you excuse me for a second, I'm going to go around the corner and get my box of collage materials and find something in there, because there isn't. There's a little bit more of that actually that I used for the teacup and saucer. I'm half strangling myself in the microphone. Okay. There we are. Yeah, so what do you think about putting that there for the saucer? I'm going to just do it. This is a day of just doing it. I'm just going to take the chance. I feel a little bit tearful saying that. I don't know what it is. Is it kind of a brittleness about me? And this is good. Doing something physically with colour and tearing and sticking. This feels good. No. That's not a bad pattern. It's from the Bowden catalogue. I've got glue on my arm now. That might work for the beautiful jug pattern. And there's more, let's see. If you've been to any of my workshops or have watched my videos before, you might have heard me saying you can make a wild goose tame, but you can't make a tame goose wild. I don't know who originally said that, so I'm going to thank Anonymous for it. But what it led me to do was to remember that the importance of beginning with a frivolousness and just a joy for your own response, you know, without feeling like it has to look a particular way. And this being the wild goose phase, I feel like everything's kind of gradually finding its place in a very loose, wild way. And as the painting progresses, then there'll be some judgments made about what to hone in on and what to leave alone. Sorry, I'm rummaging here. There's a lot to be said for rummaging around in old magazine boxes. Maybe not on camera when I'm not able to be seen even, so you can't see what I'm rummaging in. Some fine day I'll like discover ways, maybe I'll just get a technician to be with me all the time and I'll discover ways that I can show you all of it. Look, isn't that lovely from National Geographic? I think I want to use those beads somewhere. They're discoveries, beads found with the 18th century Bermuda wreck. It was the coin that delivered Africans into bondage. It was found with the coin that delivered Africans into bondage. The ship, possibly an escort for slave carriers, also yielded a glass intaglio from a seal showing St. George and the Dragon. Anyway, that's just a piece from National Geographic around this. I kind of just want to put it there. I know it's not actually well, it is dark behind there. That'll work. So I've got this watery PVA glue that's keeping my fingers from sticking to everything. I hope you're okay there, guys. Of course, as I say, I'm not obliged to you know, I don't have what I'm trying to say. I have kind of judgments around whether this is worthwhile or not on camera, but sure, I'm doing it anyway, and I love to have you with me if you're interested. Alright, so there's that for the background behind the jug, and I think I'll put a little bit of those beads on this jug too. There they are. They're kind of bluish. Now there's a card in front of the gerbera, in front of the roses behind the gerbera. It's a card I got from my friend and I really love it. I don't know how to do it here, how to make it. Yeah, I think I'll just fold over this piece of collage from a gardener's magazine and get almost a straight edge. You see, it looks to me like the colours that are in that card. My friend gave me that card for my birthday, I think maybe 5 years ago. It was Jackie, and that's it there. It just brings me so much joy for some reason. I think I feel like that's my aspired look for my garden. That's the aspired look. I don't know. I do have that kind of thing in my garden sometimes in the summer. We'll see how the flowers go this year. Maisie's introduction has kind of changed the dynamic in the garden a wee bit. Not that it, you know, my mum not being able to come over has meant that it's not had the same tender loving care as when she was around. because she's in Ireland doing her own garden, of course. Polytunnel and everything. I'm taking the gerbera off because I want to put the card on underneath. And yeah, I'll just put the card on underneath. I suppose, wouldn't it be good for you now if I was to say this is going to be like, well, you'll know how long it is because you'll have clicked on the video, because I thought I could stop after a certain time and then do part 2, so that you can see that there is the possibility of making sense of these things. Alright, so the card is kind of hidden behind the rim of the cup a little bit. Just carve out a shape for the rim of the cup there. And there's this lovely blue door on the card that I want to paint, that I want to put in there somehow. So if by any chance I could find the blue door in here, that would be fantastic. You know, I think this magazine is quite good for... there's a nice blue in the cover. I see it's a bit thick though. I'm just going to see if there's any in there. I bought these magazines purely for doing collage a few weeks ago. I bought 3 or 4 different magazines, you know, and actually I haven't done it yet. I thought about that for a blue door. I think that'll work. I'm going to cut her out, tear out part of it anyway. And I'm going to put a touch of glue in the back of that now. It's not exactly the blue of the door, but I'm happy with it. And maybe... oh, I suddenly got disheartened there, thinking, oh, you've done too much collage now, stop it. It's this kind of stop it voice that comes in. Do you know that voice? But it's one that I'm kind of choosing to not direct things so much anymore. Okay. Maybe I'll put the gerbera back on there. It's very thin now. So I peeled off some of the paper as I took it off. Just something for the shape of the gerbera to remind me that it's sitting in front of that card there. And I suppose, you know, there's room, alright. Like I was saying, that was a critical thing there, you know, saying that the stop it, you've done too much collage. But actually, I think, while I don't like the tone of that voice, the message is actually quite helpful, because I think I could do with branching out now and using something fluid like this. Lovely, that ink, in order to find where the gerbera stops and the space around it starts, and where the gerbera stops and the card starts there. And then I can let that dry. It'll take quite a while to dry that. So I imagine that this is going to definitely be a 2-part video. That orange ink is called Pyrrole Orange, and it's from Golden. I'm just going to put some collage on top of that. I think the acrylic will still work as a glue. It's almost like tissue paper, this stripped down painted paper. So I'm pretty sure it'll embed itself there easily enough. And now I'm going to do something on the teapot with this orange, because it looks a bit orange to me. There we are. And I guess I thought that maybe doing something like Payne's grey behind there might be a good way of making it cohesive and having a background to pull out things from. So I've got some Payne's grey acrylic here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Now Payne's grey is almost black really, so I'm going to put just a little bit on. And looking at the background, there are different shadows in there. Let me just spread it out and see. I mean, there's the dark of the bluish cushion behind there. I miss painting with friends actually. It's something that's quite a nice thing to do together. My friend Eileen Healy came over from Ireland, maybe it'll be over a year ago now, obviously, and we met in Starbucks and painted each other, or drew each other. I found the picture the other day. I thought that was really good fun. It was a lovely thing to do, to sit as model and then to paint her. Yeah, it was just good for the soul, I think, that whole thing. And you know, to kind of connect over the struggles too, like, I think that's key, really. The key is, oh look, this is quite a good colour for that door, and I thought I might find something. It's a nice colour for describing the brightness of that blue door on Jackie's card, I think. And then of course there's just a little humble pot here to describe the jug that the gerbera is sitting in. And I think this will do to describe that. This colour. I'm just going to put that down there. And it's going to sit on top of the gerbera, but I'm going to put some orange over that. Maybe I'll use the neon orange this time. It's actually more like a kind of a pinky colour, fluorescent red, that's what it is. So that's going to be maybe even brighter. There, look at that brightness. You know, to be honest with you, this kind of thing, I can feel the colour lighting up my heart a little bit. I better not go over time now, because you know I'm doing a Zoom call with the group that I teach watercolour portraiture to, so I don't want to miss out on them. So I'll just check my timing there now, because I'm needing to set up. Yeah, I'm seeing them at 12. Hopefully Maisie doesn't arrive back in the midst of it. I feel I'm leaving this really hanging, as in not very satisfying for you watching, because it feels as though it's all to play for still. However, for me, it has been a cathartic exercise, and it's allowed me to feel a little bit freer in myself, feel a little bit more myself too. Like I'm coming home to myself through finding a colour and a pattern, and I don't know what it is. It's like, before you go, I want to do something in the green and the rose. So I think that would move us on a little bit, possibly. So I've got oil pastels here now. They're a bit messy, these oil pastels. But I think, I can't even tell what colour it is. I thought that was going to be a totally different colour. Yeah, I'm just doing a video, Erin. What's up? There's scones made, love. It's scones with jam and cream this morning. Just eaten them before starting the video, actually. This is blue oil pastel I'm using to describe the edge of the jug there. What I thought I would do though was to bring green in for the stems. It's kind of a silvery green in the roses. You know that green, the green thing that's underneath the flower. Okay. This is Erin's day off. She's been working a lot in Sainsbury's. Really impressed with her dedication, getting up at 6 a.m. and really saving a lot of money as well, which is really impressive, and something at her age, maybe I didn't have the opportunity, I suppose. We used to go potato picking in the summer, but that was about it, $1.25 a bag. We had a beautiful sea view, mind you. It was one of those glorious locations near the sea where I was brought up in West Cork. So maybe there was more than monetary value behind that job. just kind of making them feel a little bit more rosy there before I go. And I feel a little bit trigger happy to continue. And also I feel quite heartened having started something with colour and pattern and paint and messing and just getting dirty, and kind of like when I get into the cold water, a feeling of coming home to myself and the joy of living, really. Thanks be to God. I need to remember this, because whether it's a half-hour video or 5 minutes, just this is good. And thank you for watching, if you did stay the course. And I'll definitely come back to this. I'm saying that, I feel like I want to. I love this kind of play, you know. It's good for me in between all the representational stuff and safe things to do something risky. Alright, lots of love. Bye.